Hey, how's it going to Impact Beal? And today I'm talking about how the Washington Wizards are currently ruining Bradley Beal's career. Now, if you aren't keeping up with the Wizards, and if you're not an uncasual fan or a fan of the Washington Wizards, you most likely aren't because, well, they're the Washington Wizards. But I mean, Bradley Beal has been silently having one of the best seasons out of any player in the entire NBA, but no one would know that because, well, he plays for the Washington Wizards. And I'm getting into why he needs to leave and how they are currently ruining his career, and I'm getting into how they've been doing it since he's been drafted, the recent history, and just like how they're just wasting his prime in general, and how he just needs to leave this team. But yeah, and if you do like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. And without further ado, without rambling on too much, just get right into this video. Alright, so the first thing we're getting for his video is going to be what has happened since he's been drafted to the Washington Wizards. Now, since he was drafted to the Wizards, he has averaged at least 15 points per game in every single season except his rookie season. That is very impressive because most players need a lot more time than Bradley Beal needed to develop into the NBA and learn how to score in the NBA. But even his rookie season, he averaged 13 points per game and shown very, very good scoring talent. And I mean, for him to average at least 15 points per game for that long is very, very impressive. And then also something even more impressive, that even ever since 2016 season, he has averaged at least 20 points per game and is currently this season averaging 30 points per game. So he has shown that he is by far one of the best scorers in the entire NBA, and he can score with the best of them. Not many players in the NBA can average 30 points per game, even on a bad team like the Washington Wizards. And the Wizards were not always all bad, as the 5 of the 8 years he's been in the league, he has made the playoffs. Now, albeit they have seen very little success after making the playoffs, as the second round was the farthest they've ever gone, but I mean, still, 5 out of your 8 years is not bad at all. But unfortunately for the Wizards, John Wall went down with an injury a couple years back, and ever since then, the team has not been able to bounce back at all, and has been one of the bottom-feeding teams in the NBA, and with them being as unsuccessful as they are, has resulted in, despite the extreme success and extreme scoring success Bradley Beal has seen, him only making 2 All-Star games, and now last year becoming one of the, or this year should I say, becoming one of the biggest All-Star snubs in the entire NBA, and maybe in NBA history. He was averaging 28.6 points per game at the time, but when the All-Star voting was finalized, and he still did not even make the reserve team for the All-Stars. And a lot of people were saying, well, it's because the Washington Wizards were so bad, but no, Trae Young was a starter on the All-Star team and was averaging very similar stats towards like same as Bradley Beal. So I mean, Bradley Beal just got absolutely screwed, and I mean, a big part is due to the Washington Wizards, because I mean, a lot of people don't see him being as good as these other players just because of how horrible his team actually is, even though it is completely not his fault. And I mean, it's just unfair for you to judge Bradley Beal one way and then judge people like Trae Young, whose team is also very bad, but since he's younger, Trae Young is now seen as being a better player, even though they're pretty much in the same situation, averaging the same amount of points and same stats per game. So I mean, in no way am I bashing Trae Young or anything. I'm just saying Bradley Beal gets a very, very bad short end of the stick due to the Washington Wizards, and they really just are an awful place for him to be right now, as he can put up all the stats he wants. He plays as good as he possibly can, but he still gets no credit for it due to him being somewhere like Washington, a small market that no one really pays attention to. But now, even in recent history, what has happened? Well, the Wizards front office has shown absolutely no chance of adding any talent around Bradley Beal, as ever since John Wall has went down, that contract they gave him is looking like one of the worst contracts in the entire NBA. So now, even when John Wall comes back, one, he hasn't played in 2 years, so he probably won't be anywhere near what he used to be, but also no one's going to want to trade for John Wall due to how ginormous his contract actually is, and it's one of the worst contracts in the NBA, assuming he does not come back the same player as he once was. And it's going to be very interesting to see what he does come back, but I mean, that's going to be a video for a different day. And I mean, really, for the past year since Wall went down, there has been literally no chance at them adding talent around Bradley Beal. The only 2 players this year that they have legit like good start, like a good supporting cast around Beal, is Davis Bertans and Rory Hachimura. Rory Hachimura is on here because he's having a decent rookie season, but we still don't know how good of a player he's going to be. And Davis Bertans has came out as one of the best 3-point shooters in the entire league and has the ability to get extremely, extremely hot. But I mean, really, outside of those 2 players over the past like 3 years, those are like the only 2 good supporting cast players around Bradley Beal. And I mean, they haven't shown any signs of improvement at any time soon. And I think that's a very big red flag for Bradley Beal. I mean, for a front office to put them itself in such salary cap hell, as in like them not having enough cap to sign big free agents, but also just not looking to trade anyone, not looking to get not being able to draft well. This front office has shown complete incompetence to help Bradley Beal out and help him win games. And I think, like I said earlier, that is a ginormous red flag if you're a player like Bradley Beal, as you can start seeing how incompetent the team is and how unlikely it is that your situation is going to improve at all, if it ever will. So I mean, I think Bradley Beal needs to start seeing that this is an unwinnable situation in Washington, especially with the current state the team is in with their salary cap, how they haven't really been able to draft players very well. They haven't been trading for many players. So, I mean, I think Bradley Beal needs to see the writing on the wall and be like, okay, I need a trade, and request a trade. But now, also, my third thing is going to be that they are completely wasting his prime with the Washington Wizards. As I mean, this year, Beal is literally averaging 30.1 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, 6 assists per game. But I mean, despite him averaging literally 28 points per game at the time, and now 30 points per game, and being probably one of the best scorers behind James Harden in the entire league, he did not make an All-Star game. Now, an All-Star game is not it's less prestigious than it usually is. I mean, than it used to be. But I mean, it's still nice to make an All-Star game, especially when your real team is not that good. It's kind of a relief and shows your appreciation. Hey, your team might not be that good, but hey, at least you're playing good and you deserve this. Well, Bradley Beal couldn't even get that and became one of the biggest snubs in NBA All-Star history. And I mean, I think for sure if he was with any other team, or not any other team, but damn near any other team than the Washington Wizards, and he was putting up anywhere near this stat line, he would have been a All-Star starter. It definitely would at least have been an All-Star reserve if he was in almost any other situation in the entire NBA. I mean, the Wizards are just a completely irrelevant franchise at this point in time, and I mean, sorry if you're a Wizards fan, but I mean, they're literally just ruining his prime, because if you can't get much better than the stat line Bradley Beal is currently putting up, and for him not to even make an All-Star game is just absolutely ridiculous. And to make it even worse, if you don't believe that his prime's getting wasted already, he just dropped 50 plus points in back-to-back games, and they lost. He has, I don't know this for a fact, but he has to be the only player to drop 50 points in back-to-back games and lose both of them. He almost scored half of his team's points and good efficiency, and they still lost. I mean, if you can't see the writing on the wall at this point in your Bradley Beal, I mean, you just have to demand a trade. You can't play any better than you're playing. You're giving them at your all. You're playing as hard as you can. You're scoring as good as you can. You're playing at your peak level pretty much, and you just can't win games. That's just an all-around failure on Bradley Beal, and the Washington Wizards have completely failed Bradley Beal. But unfortunately, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think Bradley Beal needs to ask for a trade? And if you do want to see him ask for a trade, where do you want to see him traded to? I want to hear all your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you did like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah, blah, blah.